Well, the news is Siemens is going green hydrogen, that is. So Monday, March 1st, they announced that they have accepted a U.S. Department of Energy grant to study their, I'm probably going to mispronounce it, silyzer electrolyzers. Uh,
Who knows? Yeah.
so what's really cool about this is kind of a collaborative effort to design, build, and test a compressor system to integrate hydrogen into existing fossil fuel generation. Oh, and there we go.
And there it is.
Sorry, but so Mitsubishi Power won the contract to supply the turbines, but Siemens Energy is working to create the hydrogen to fuel them. They're also supplying the steam turbines alongside with the GE gas-fired turbines for a 65 million, 20 megawatt green hydrogen project being built by Florida Power and Light. That project is going to try to turn excess solar into hydrogen to augment the natural gas supply for the
Okeechobee.
Okeechobee
Lake
power
Okeechobee.
plant. Okeechobee. And
Okeechobee.
it could be online by 2023. But I mean, this is a pretty nice development. I think it's great that they're willing to put this kind of energy into it. We do need to look at power sources, and hydrogen is one of them. Making it green now seems to be pretty challenging when you look at the efficiencies, because they're talking about something like 40 to 50% the cost to turn clean electricity into hydrogen, burning the hydrogen to generate power. 40 to 50% level of efficiency, that's an issue there. So Siemens also has another project with Duke and Clemson where they're trying to test the value of capturing the excess heat from a 15 megawatt turbine to supply the university campus district heat system. So that's a way of actually making it far more efficient by using that 40 to 50% cost for something else. What do you guys think? I know it's not gonna power Tesla anytime soon.
Right.
But who knows?
Well, you do, like you said, you do lose a significant amount of energy with the hydrogen conversion rather than doing some sort of battery or pumped hydro or lifting a weight to the top of a well and dropping it down when you need it later. But if you aren't leaving your fossil fuels, so if you're just going to convert the coal plant to steam powered by natural gas, you pump some extra hydrogen in with your natural gas, and it's not so bad, but it's not perfect. But yes, like we keep saying, we can't expect perfect. We need anything in the step in the right direction.
I don't know. I'm more skeptical. I hope you're right, Casey. I hope this is for the right reasons, but I think green hydrogen is the new clean coal. I just think it's so. If you have electricity, you are way better off using that to run a heat pump than you are to produce hydrogen to then integrate into natural gas. When we had Matthew Klippenstein on here, he was talking about some project in Canada that did that and how they could replace up to 10% of the natural gas. And I was like, oh, wow, that sounds great. I mean, I'd much rather it was 100% replaced, but 10% I'll take it. And then later I started looking into that because I thought it was a pretty cool idea and found out that the hydrogen only produces 2 to 3% of the energy that the natural gas would have created. So you've reduced the volume by 10% of methane, but now you have to use 7 or 8% more. So you have little to no net gain. And the whole process of producing hydrogen is very lossy. And which is why I said you're way better off using just transmitting that electricity, running heat pumps somewhere is going to be a much more efficient use of of the electricity than it is going through this process.
Well, then I think my question would be, why do you think they're spending this much time and energy on this? Because this is a very expensive project.
Because anytime you put hydrogen in the mix with anything, then you can keep doing what you're already doing, whether it's pumping gas or running a coal plant or natural gas plant. So it's an excuse to delay. at least with the current hydrogen technology. Now, maybe if someday we find a catalyst where you pour water over a rock and out comes hydrogen and oxygen, okay. But I mean, I think that's why it's so appealing to all these old industries. It's because they don't have to change anything.
I mean,
exactly.
This is all coming from people who have made their money in fossil fuels for the most part.
Yes.
Siemens is a huge, not an oil producer, not a petrochemical producer, but they're a huge producer of turbines and power generating equipment, which burn things. And hydrogen's a thing you can burn, blended with natural gas or by itself. It's hard because in one way it's a step forward, and Patrick is absolutely right. There's just no one yet, even though we're producing the hydrogen with clean electricity, not electricity from a coal-fired plant or something like that. We're still like, we'd be better off pumping it into batteries.
Yes.
Arguably.
I will let you guys know about one project that is going on in Norway. Norway, of course, pretty far out ahead in renewable energy and what they're doing. They have gasoline supplies, but they sell them all. They don't use them internally.
Yeah.
What they're planning on doing is they have a $34 billion, billion with a B, project that's in the works to create a number of offshore wind turbines. Okay, the size of the Space Needle, hundreds of these large wind turbines. They're going to build an energy island, they're calling it, that will link all of these turbines with undersea cables to get the electricity to this shore of an artificial island. Now, they've already figured out they got too many of these wind turbines to use all the electricity. Even if they're shipping it all back to Europe, they have too much electricity from the size of this field of turbines they're building or want to build. And their thought is to use some of it to create hydrogen on this island, and then to also offload the hydrogen to ships that would use it for cross transatlantic shipping. So, but the problem still exists that they're going to lose about 50% of the capacity of the electricity in order to make hydrogen.
Yeah.
So that is still the problem. But they're saying we have so much extra electricity, and it all comes from wind sources, that we're going to build the green hydrogen from it. And we figured that it's a good way to use the surplus electricity that we're not going to use to ship it to the mainland.
Connect it to the Russian and African grids. They'll take care of it.
Right. If you build transmission lines and just run electricity and sell it that way, I think you would. Anyway, but a friend of mine just said, "Hey, I think you're going to love this book," and it's a sci-fi book whose name I'm blanking on. But he said, in this future sci-fi, everything is wirelessly powered, even like things throughout your home. And I'm like, well, why would they do that? And he said, because in this book they have renewable energy just in massive surplus, and so. Yeah, it's a 30% less efficient or whatever to power things wirelessly, but it's far more convenient. And because power is just everywhere, every renewable, way more than they could ever use. So everything is just wirelessly powered. And I was like, yeah, that's an interesting
Nikola Tesla's
idea.
goal.
Yeah.
I still have a question about this one in the article, though, is what are they doing about normally when you add extra hydrogen to stuff, it becomes brittle and wears out faster.
Yeah, which is why they have to limit it. The brittleification of what caused by hydrogen is a real problem. It interacts with a lot of metals and other things, so you have to have proper coatings in there, or you have to keep it below 15%, in some cases below 10%, because otherwise you get this brittle, and then you get cracks, and you get gas leaks, and that's bad for everybody, explosions, and nobody likes that. Yeah.
So basically, they're just keeping it at that minimum threshold. That's why the numbers are so low.
Right. Yeah. You don't want the Hindenburg Gas Company to supply you.
And that's why they're not doing something like a stationary fuel cell, because then you need platinum and all that stuff. Versus
What was
burning
it, Paul? What'd you say, Paul?
It's a good name for a gas company.
Hindenburg gas, yeah. I want some of that. Well, suffice to say, these fossil fuel companies are going to develop technology that benefit them.
Yeah.
And
And
in one
greenwash
sense,
stuff.
Yeah, and they're looking to greenwash their existing business models as long as they can. So it's one thing to applaud the step in the right direction. Yay. It's another thing to kind of look a little past that and go, but really, and the big problem is we just don't have a good way to store energy.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Not a good cheap way.
Not a
But-
good
Right.
cheap, not even a good expensive way.
Well, we got those kinetic wells, and we got batteries.
Pumped hydro.
All we got.
Well, pumped hydro doesn't work
Right.
everywhere.
Fat deposits.
Yeah, but nothing that really competes with burning something.
This is
Right.
true. So I have maybe it's letting you off the hook, and we shouldn't do that. But I'm taken back to where Elon was talking about why the Model 3 battery had modules, and he says because we have a module team, so they made their battery with modules. It's just that's all they could think of.
Mhm.
But when he got rid of the module team, they just have a pack. So maybe they're used to just pumping stuff in and burning it, and that's the cleanest way they could think to pump something in and burn it. So they just
Right.
need to regroup about how they do things rather than
Yeah, that's exactly
think
kind of
it
what
is.
Russell was saying. Is there's a huge status quo bias, and if that's the model, I mean, Shell, for example, wants to sell you fuel, and if they can sell you hydrogen instead of gasoline, they can still make a business out of that, and they're probably happy with that, right? So,
Right.
but if you're fueling from electricity at your house, wait, that doesn't include us. We don't like that model. We want to suggest another one.
You guys remember the Honda Fill, where you could fill up natural gas at home from your gas company, and it would just compress it overnight? They killed that pretty quick.
Yeah.
Totally
No,
didn't remember
not at
that.
all.
Yeah.
Yeah, PHIL, Honda Fill. You'd park your
There was
CNG Civic, it would take overnight,
natural
just like an
gas
electric car.
fueling station in your garage that was hooked
Yeah.
up to the gas company.
That doesn't sound like a good idea.
It was slow. It was just like charging an electric car on level 1, and so
No,
in
but
the
I
morning
mean-
it was ready.
Having individual humans handle natural gas filling and not like that
People handle
sounds
propane
Bad
barbecues.
idea.
Yeah,
it was
not
just
always
like the
safely
hydrogen.
though, Paul.
yeah.
True, but it was just like the hydrogen stations are today.
But it was a compatible filler like the hydrogen
Yeah.
station. So
Yeah.
it was, had
You had to
interlocks and
interlock it
safety
and-
things. And
Exactly.
Turn the
Okay.
lever. And, yeah.
I just
I didn't
you know,
hear of anyone blowing up their house.
I know enough
Car,
people
but
that
not
can't
house.
handle propane tanks safely. So,
Yes.
like carrying them into the Walmart or something like, what are you doing? Don't bring it in. Anyway. Well, enough of that. Thank you very much, Georgia.